Hey everybody, so don't panic. Yes, I watched yesterday's video and I saw that I had wanted to create a don't panic graphic, and I think that's better than the one I had on my t-shirt. So, my wife, she does make t-shirts. It's not really her main thing anymore. She mostly does tumblers now, but she still does t-shirts from time to time. um, Her biggest orders are T-shirts, but the vast majority of her revenue comes from tumblers. So, and like most people watch her for her Tumblr work. But anyway, so I think that would have been a better graphic, or maybe even without the tilt. Let me try that. Let's get rid of the tilt real quick. Um, see, I'm looking for the rotation. Let's make that 0. Oh my gosh, I think that's so cool. Um, don't panic. Um, but anyway, so yeah, we're yesterday morning I was sort of having a little internal crisis about this whole validation thing, and thinking I should have done this from as a CSV import and then done the um, JSON import and then started building out the UI pieces. And then sort of every time I added something, I should have added it to the CSV, then next to the um, JSON, and then next to, or maybe vice versa, JSON, CSV, like that. I imagine that would work itself out. But honestly, like who knows? Who knows where we're going to be in 90 some videos? There's absolutely no reason to get worked up about that now. And the whole idea of this entire project from was that the first year would be totally focused on just proving that these things can be done. And I think we have proven most of the things I want to prove. There's two big holes. One is the import altogether. Like, can I in, bring in an import? But I know I can do an import. I don't know if at this point, now that this is scaled out to where it's at, if it'll be feasible to then kind of shoehorn an imports into there. I definitely would have to go to JSON and then CSV, but we'll probably have a better view of that in a year or in 100 days, 100 videos, and then the other pieces like a physics engine. I can't see any reason why we wouldn't be able to do a physics engine. I know there's some weird oddities to physics engines, but maybe and it would be nice if we can get there. We may get there, may not get there on this proof of concept. And then number 3 would be like sort of music. Like, I think it would be really cool if I could just upload like an MP3, have some sort of visualization of that music, and then build the animations of these 3D objects against that. But that's, I think, the farthest down the line, because I think having things reacting to physics would be cool on that. So when we left off, I had gotten the validation uh, token function working inside of, or I had renamed this, and then inside the UI, I had added a get validation for token. And now what I wanted to do is in the actual application, or in the component, um, I want to do this step right here, right? So basically, I know that the fog, this, I know that I want to validate at the scene. I know I want to validate for fog density, and I know that, and that's all I know. And I know the path to the fog density. I know I'm in scene, and I know it's called fog density. So I'm gonna just say const token, and I guess I should say validation token. That's probably one of the reasons why, whenever you're dealing with tokenization and things like that, um, that things get kind of confusing, is because they usually just call it token, so that's kind of like in JavaScript where they call this, and everything gets very confusing the minute you start talking about this. And I do remember early on, maybe the first couple years of JavaScript, every time I would hear the word this, I would just turn my brain off. I'd be like, sorry, does not compute. But this is a validation type. and this is equal to this dot UI validation, UI validating service dot get token for path, and I believe the scene is supposed to be, the first path item is scene, and the well, actually I think I'd send it a array with scene and fog density. And what I expect to get back is console log validation token comma validation token. So I'm hoping to get basically the text validation positive floating point is what I'm hoping to get. Okay, say bye-bye to the graphic, and hello. Let's see what we got. We got an error, maximum call stack. Okay, so I'm guessing this call broke something. Must be causing a infinite loop, be my guess. Yep. And then if we go back to this, and what I like to do in this situation will just be use the keyword debugger. And so if you have the and before I do that, let me open up this thing. So if you have the window open, the inspector window open, it'll automatically go into debug mode before we get there. And we'll step through and see what the dealio is. There we go. So we are here. Basically what happens is we go into this validation service and somehow we end up in an infinite loop. Okay, so my path I think looks good, right? It's an array, scene, and fog density. And then I'm trying to get the token for, I don't want to get this token. I want to get the validation services token. So let's go ahead and fix that issue. Validation service. I can imagine myself if I was watching myself, I would have been like, you fool. Now this is where I also would be proud of myself, because that means that I'm not sneaking off and doing this stuff without off camera and then practicing and then coming back. I'm like literally doing this stuff live. And I know that a lot of creators, it's so funny that I call myself a creator. A lot of people that do content like this, content creators like myself, ooh la la la. A lot of people like that do this will practice off screen and then they'll act like they're doing it the first time live in front of you guys, because it does take a lot of confidence to do that. I definitely, most of my life would have been way too, okay, so that looks good, validation. I would have been way too self-conscious to come on here and live code. And the main reason for that, and I did want to kind of talk about this a little bit, is like what I'm doing right now is not coding. It really isn't. It is a one sort of layer away from coding. You will develop, in my personal opinion, you will develop your coding chops quietly with alone. It's going to be a lonely kind of thing where you just code and you look up and you're like, oh my gosh, 4 hours have gone. And if you're young and in a kind of a situation where you can abuse the hell out of your body, 5 cans of Mountain Dew will be gone and a bag of chips. And I miss those days. Those were the days when I could just have a big bag of Doritos, a bunch of Mountain Dew and soda, do all of that, code for 6, 7 hours, wake up, see all this amazing code that I had just written, and and never gain an ounce. That was amazing. But nowadays, I'm trying to pass what I know on. That's like really, really important. I think like Gen X could literally be the only generation that ever truly learns how to code. And when I look at the statistics of who watches mine, there are very few millennials watch my videos. Almost everyone that watches my videos are Gen Z. So I think this coding, if it does survive, is going to leap an entire generation. Now, the millennials are damn good architects. They do a great job of architecting and kind of coming up with the way things should fit together and stuff like that. For the most part, I don't think that most of them, like as they came up, ever got a chance to just spend 6, 8, 10 hours for an entire summer, like Linux, the guy who built Linux, he would, he was basically coded for 15 hours a day for an entire winter, up in wherever, some cold ass place. And that's kind of what it took to kind of become where I'm at. And then the millennials, they got the beginning of the Facebook and social media, and they were all, doing all that stuff, and they probably never got that chance to do that. And I noticed that I see a lot of young people, Gen Zers, and whatever the next group is called. Those groups, where it looks to me like when I go jogging and stuff, like they spend a lot of time alone, sort of just grinding away, doing things. So maybe this Gen X might be the last generation to actually learn how to code. I know that like I don't know how to do mainframes at all, and that it's the generation before me that knows how to do mainframes, and that I don't know anybody my age that knows how to do mainframes, and it's probably a dead art. There's probably no way that anybody will ever be able to learn how to do mainframes, and there are a lot of big corporations that are completely dependent on mainframe work, and it's dead. So both those companies, if they do not get off those mainframes, are zombie companies. They're just dead. They don't even realize it yet. But anyways, that's that. And happy coding, everybody. Bye.